desperate leaders are already starting to cave to Trump's tariffs. Let's go ahead and check this video out immediately, see where this takes us. This is a suggestion via a channel member.
Donald Trump has shown his dominance yet again. The leaders of global nations have been spooked by Trump's reciprocal tariffs and have snapped into action, immediately declaring the removal of tariffs on U.S. imports to maintain a friendly relationship with the superpower.
The news of the day, Mr. Secretary, is about tariffs, and this is Liberation Day for America. The tariffs seem to already be having an effect where other countries, India and Canada, namely, but I expect Mexico and China in the upcoming
days, right,
to say we give up, and the tariffs are having great effect. Now, Canada has said, no more tariffs on America if you guys take tariffs off us.
Israel was the first country to cave, with Benjamin Netanyahu releasing a statement that said, "Today we cancelled all of the customs duties levied on products from the U.S.
I'm going to be honest here. When it comes to Israel, I'm not sure Israel should have any tariffs on us. Neither should the Ukraine. Specifically, if we're funding your existence, it does not make any sense why you're not allowing us to make money in your country. That should never be a thing, but let's continue.
Today we cancelled all of the customs duties levied on products from the U.S., Israel's largest trading partner.
That should have never
existed. The customs duties on American goods is an additional step in the policy that my governments have led for a decade in opening up the market to competition, introducing variety to the economy and lowering the cost of living. This led some commentators to question why Israel even had tariffs on U.S. imports in the first place, considering how much aid they are provided.
Right.
This commentator said, why was Israel charging the United States any customs duties at all? This is mind-boggling to me. We help your country with so much, but you are charging import duties, or another term for tariffs. Canada, despite the Prime Minister's tough talk, also seems to be willing to take off their tariffs to the US, according to Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
Well, we've had this conversation for over the last month. We don't want tariffs. We have another $65 billion worth of tariffs to launch today. That's the last thing we want to do, because it's just, again, it's going to hurt both countries. It's going to hurt American workers. That's the last thing I want.
No, Andrew meant take the other ones off, not the ones you're launching today. The ones that you already got.
You're saying you take all your tariffs off. I'm saying
we will take them all. That's right.
Good.
Why is that not? I guess my question is, why has all of that not already happened? And does President Trump know that you'd be preprepared to do that?
He knows, now. And Secretary Lutnick knows that we're willing to take these tariffs off, guys, in the next minute. If he said he's taking their tariffs off, so let's look at the auto sector.
Although this is at odds with his Prime Minister Mark Carney, who is tonight in desperation mode, looking distressed and slamming Trump at every opportunity he can get.
I can imagine.
So President Trump has just announced a series of measures that are going to fundamentally change the international trading system.
Absolutely.
Now, in doing so, he has preserved a number of important elements of our relationship, the commercial relationship between Canada and the United States.
Right, a good amount of carve-outs.
But the fentanyl tariffs still remain in place, as do the tariffs for steel and aluminum. As of this evening, the tariffs on automobiles will enter into force, and the U.S. has signaled that there will be additional tariffs in so-called strategic sectors. Pharmaceuticals, lumber, and semiconductors.
The carve-outs.
So we're in a situation where there is going to be an impact on the U.S. economy, which will build with time. In our judgment, it will be negative on the U.S. economy. That will have an impact on us.
Right.
But the series of measures will directly affect millions of Canadians.
Okay.
We are going to fight these tariffs.
Good.
Countermeasures.
Do that.
We are going to protect our workers, and we are going to build the strongest economy.
Okay, guys, hold on. I gotta make a big screen for a second. Whenever I hear like foreign nations start kind of pointing out the things that they don't like about what we're doing in another sovereign nation, let's say, it makes me believe that we're probably doing the right thing. Like if every single country around the world agreed with every single move that we did, I would perceive that we're probably getting shafted on the back end, because generally sovereign nations only really cared so much, let's say, about their own sovereign nation. Right. So what he's saying makes all the sense in the world. It's because we're going to win. Listen, is everything going to be as easy as it always has been, at least for a short period of time in our long history? No. Right. But as soon as things start getting good, guess what's going to happen? Things are going to be amazing. Like it has to be. That's how things work, right? And the fact that all of these, like a good amount of these people here are being like, you know what, listen, it's going to hurt the American people. First of all, you don't care about the American people. You're the leader of a sovereign nation. You care about your people, right? So, but in fact, you don't want to sound or look weak at the moment. So you're just completely like negating the fact that you're really truthfully scared. Basically, I think this guy right here is scared, and he's going to have to come to the table and negotiate bigly, in Trump's words. All right, let's go, guys.
India also moved quickly, dropping its tariffs on U.S. imports in response to the news.
India, just a little while ago, is going to be dropping its tariffs very substantially. And I said, why didn't somebody do this a long time ago? A lot of countries are going to be dropping their tariffs.
There are also reports that Vietnam are cutting tariffs on American imports. Mm-hmm. And Trump's global best bud, Javier Milei, president of Argentina, has hopped on the front foot, scheduling a meeting with Marco Rubio in Washington, D.C. to forge ahead with a trade deal after Trump announced the lowest possible 10% tariff on Argentina. And after talking tough for weeks on tariffs, it seems the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer may be crowbarred into caving to the demands of Donald Trump.
The UK 100%.
Taking a very diplomatic approach to the new tariffs and saying a trade war is in no one's best interests. Watch this space.
Mr. Speaker, we've been preparing for all eventualities ahead of the confirmation of US tariffs later today. Let me be clear with the House. A trade war is in nobody's interest. And the country deserves, and we will take, a calm, pragmatic approach. Okay. That's why we're working with all industries and sectors likely to be impacted. Our decisions will always be guided by our national interest. And that's why we have prepared for all eventualities, and we will rule nothing out.
The first wave of world leaders who have caved to Trump are prioritizing maintaining their close ties to the U.S., just as Trump foresaw before announcing the tariffs.
Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs, I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a bad, bad thing and very devastating to us, and start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm, and many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe
they have been.
Not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm.
But not everyone is willing to play ball. French President Emmanuel Macron has come out fighting, pledging to stop all future investment into the US from France and the European Union in light of the tariffs.
Okay.
Il était important que nous puissions nous retrouver le plus rapidement possible après les annonces de la nuit dernière du président Trump, qui sont un choc pour le commerce international, pas simplement pour l'Union européenne, la France, mais au fond pour le bon fonctionnement du commerce. Ce qui est important, et c'est tout le travail qu'il faut faire par filière, que les investissements à venir ou que les investissements annoncés ces dernières semaines, ils soient un temps suspendus tant qu'on n'a pas clarifié les choses avec les États-Unis d'Amérique.
Okay.
Parce que quel serait le message d'avoir des grands acteurs européens qui se mettent à investir des milliards d'euros dans l'économie américaine au moment où ils sont en train de nous taper? Donc il faut,
I would double the tariffs on this man.
Il faut qu'on ait de la solidarité.
Just for speaking like this. I'm just saying. Listen, I understand France is absolutely important, right? On the world stage, that's the reality, right? G7, we're here. We understand, comprehend. But he's talking a little spicy, bro. For all of what we have done to help the planet, right, in terms of being the world's police, don't get me wrong here. I'm fully aware that we started most of the issues that we're now policing. Yeah, I know. Okay, so when I say I know, I understand where both sides are going to come from in terms of the arguments. I understand, guys. You know, some people seem to kind of miss that when I speak, right? But okay, France is important, but I would not tell specifically the president of the United States of America to stop with the tariffs exclusively because France, of all places, right? Is not happy, with how we're trying to actually, for the first time in a very long time, look out for what is best for our citizens. Okay. We've had a problem for a really long time. And again, when I start seeing countries stand up and they say they don't like what another country is doing, that means that the country that's doing it is probably doing it for their best interest, and that's completely fine. Okay, it's completely fine. But when I start seeing everyone being like, yeah, everything is nice, egalitarianism, you guys are rich, so give us all of your money through U.S. aid, etc. Right? When I start hearing that, I'm looking at you weird, bro. I have to look at you weird, bro. I'm sorry. But either way, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. It doesn't surprise me. I'm happy that this is happening. I kind of knew from the beginning. I've been saying from the beginning that this is, in fact, a negotiation tactic. But even though, the White House press secretary answered the question, basically dictating to the world that, no, in fact, this is not a negotiation. Come on, bro. You think we're silly? We're not silly. We know what this is. And I'm glad it is exactly what I thought it was, right? I still want him to do it. Bro, listen, they have had, multiple decades robbing us. Okay? They have had those multiple decades. So if we put these tariffs on everyone, completely fine. Pay back what you owe, bro. All right? But either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.